What is up, family? We had an incredible discussion before the show. I'll let y'all in on it at the end of the show. This is Speak. If it's your first time, thanks for hanging with us. Volume's up, remote's down, and stay for a while. I'm Emmanuel on the far end. That is Dave Helman. Next to him, the brilliant Joy Taylor. You got NBA insider Slick, Rick the Bucher, and Eagles all-time rushing leader LeSean, Shady McCoy. Slick, what song you say you're going to walk out to if you had a fight?
Nothing.
No,
Lose yourself.
Oh, there it is.
Okay.
There it is.
If
Slick had to fight somebody, he coming out to lose yourself. Well, the Ravens, they might not lose themselves, but they might lose Lamar Jackson. No matter the circumstances, never crack, just relax. Close quote. This has been such a fascinating storyline in the NFL. I'm loving watching it. I'm loving watching how this is being played. But what I am hating is that Lamar Jackson does not have a board certified, if you will, agent representing him. Now, what Lamar Jackson is doing, it is very interesting, and it is very admirable, commendable, if you will, having his mother act as his representation. Clearly, that family is brilliant because Lamar Jackson would not be here without the brilliance of his intellectual ability and his physical ability, so nobody is questioning that. But what I want for Lamar Jackson is for him to get the greatest payday that he could possibly get. That's the advice that I'm about to lend right now. I'm not going to lend advice that might make him the most likable. I'm not going to lend advice that might make him most in with the culture. I'm going to lend the advice that will make him the wealthiest as it pertains to what I have studied from others that are incredibly wealthy, far more wealthy than I. See, when you have an agent, they act as a bad guy. Shady, I would call an agent a necessary evil. I never liked having agents because they take in your money. Yeah. But they're a necessary evil, meaning your agent will tell you and teams what you won't necessarily tell yourself or tell other teams. Right. Let's remember when Kyler Murray was trying to get paid, it was his agent that stepped up and said, Kyler Murray wants to be an Arizona Cardinal. Kyler Murray wants to be X, Y, and Z. Kyler Murray, I'm sure, was advised to remove all of the association with the Arizona Cardinals from his social media pages, and he got paid. It was the agent of Deshaun Watson that advised Deshaun Watson how to conduct himself on the football field. It was the agent of Jalen Ramsey or Earl Thomas that helped them become the highest paid players in the sport at their position. Furthermore, agents have connections. Y'all remember Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury have the same agent. So I want somebody as my representative who not only has a team's leverage because they represent me, but I want them to represent some other people too. Right. Oh, you got to pick up my call because not only do you need this client, oh, you might need that client as well. I've seen that time and time again. I do think that while commendable and while admirable, Lamar Jackson is hurting himself without having an agent because Lamar is one of the greatest players that we have seen, the greatest talents we've seen at that position. So why in the world is he still asking for money instead of demanding it? 2-5, you got paid a lot of money in your career. Is Lamar Jackson hurting himself without an agent?
No, man, it's Lamar Jackson. He's a product that a lot of teams would love to have. Before I get into my whole take about this, I want to ask you, because you said something interesting about agents. Yep. So my thing with agents is, if let's say Lamar had a top agent, you pick one. Who's the top agent to you?
We'll get him.
He's very good. Ooh, he's very hot. So if Lamar Jackson had him, what would be the difference?
He wouldn't be in this position in the first place.
Okay, but no, right now, if he fired his mom and he got with him. Yep. So first thing I'm gonna say is this: he's gonna ask for more money than Deshaun Watson.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, you know that for sure.
There's no difference.
No doubt for sure.
The Ravens are gonna push back on it. So everybody keeps creating this narrative. Oh, he needs another agent or a real agent. I'm thinking like, why? Mm-hmm. Why does he? Every agent he has is gonna ask for more money than Deshaun Watson. The Ravens' response is gonna be the same thing. I feel like a guy like Lamar Jackson, he's different than any other quarterback out here. He has a different skill set even than any quarterback. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, whoever you want to name.
Very true.
He's a franchise quarterback. If the Ravens don't want to pay him, that's fine. There's a lot of other teams that would love to have Lamar Jackson. I think about the Baltimore Ravens. You know, I'm from Harrisburg, so I spent some time in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. Go down there and get some crab legs, watch some baseball games, even the football games when I was younger. And I'm thinking about all the great players they had. It was always that defense, right? We can't wait to look at Ray Lewis. There's none of that. There's no more of that. When you go down there to a Ravens game, it's going to be tons of Ray Lewis jerseys. Now it's Lamar Jackson. Yep. Think about that. You can't wait to save your money to go to a Ravens game, and now who's the quarterback? Who would it be? Come on. The team, when Lamar doesn't play, they lose. When he plays, they win. Sign this quarterback and stop playing these games, Ravens, please.
He did ask nicely, Ravens. He did
Come
ask
on, man.
nicely.
What are we talking about?
He did say please. Joy, break this down. Is Lamar hurting himself without an agent?
I don't think so, because I think this should be the easiest deal of his career. It's his turn to get paid.
That's right.
The market is what the market is. We know what the high end is between Deshaun Watson and the next highest paid with guaranteed money. It is Russell Wilson, $165 million guaranteed. Deshaun Watson has $230 million guaranteed. Of course, if it's your turn to get paid, you're going to come in higher than Deshaun Watson.
Right.
Now, maybe he'll get it, maybe he won't. But you don't negotiate against yourself. You're going to ask for a lot. The organization or the company's going to ask for a little. You meet in the middle, or you meet a little closer to your ends or a little closer to their end, depending on the leverage that you have at that time. But he should be asking for the most money, and that's what his agent, his mother, is doing. Now, the only thing that's going to change is if somebody else gets paid. If a Joe Burrow comes in and doesn't ask for that, or doesn't get that. If a Jalen Hurts doesn't get that, then you're going to start to get into the real negotiating part of this. But Lamar Jackson knows what he's doing. He's trying to make a ton of money. He's not going to trick that off by not having somebody who's competent in what they're doing. And he doesn't really need the connections right now. He's Lamar Jackson. He's the commodity.
Right.
There are lots of teams around the league right now who need franchise quarterbacks, and that's what Lamar Jackson is. Kyler Murray missed 9 games due to injury. Lamar's missed 11. I could be switching those around, but it's somewhere within there. They've missed essentially the same amount of games due to injury, and Lamar Jackson's way better than Kyler Murray. So this isn't a point in his career where he's searching out other teams for a job because he needs one. He's going to have one. It's just a matter of what is the final number going to end up being.
Here's my thing, Dave, as we come to you is this. Russell Wilson, you said 166?
165.
165. Deshaun Watson, to my knowledge, I believe is 236. 230 even?
Yep.
230. 165 to 230. I'm doing this off the top of my head. I'm sure I'm wrong, but
160.
I think there's $65 million there. Oof. It's a big discrepancy. Like, this is no small feat. That's why I think it's so easy for me on television to say, well, Lamar, just do your thing without an agent, right? You got to be somewhere between Kyler or Deshaun, or maybe greater than Deshaun, between Russ and Deshaun and greater than Deshaun. But we are talking about a $65 million gap, Dave Helman, that I think an agent could help ease. What do you think?
An agent can do a lot of things to help you, but I'll go as far as to say I commend Lamar Jackson in a way, and not because I'm positive that this is going to work out for the best for him, but at the very least, this is interesting. It's interesting and unprecedented. Here's the thing, and I know
because I'm upset.
No, I know you know this. Actually, all of y'all know this. Agents, for all the good they do and all the ways they help you make the most money possible, they're part of this machine. It's all part of the mechanisms of the NFL or any other sports league for that matter. And I think that's why this has a lot of people in a tizzy, because we know next to nothing about what's going on with this negotiation.
True.
Because there's not an agent or an agency putting out Lamar Jackson's side of this. You know, like whether it's David Mulligetta, Drew Rosenhaus, any number of agents. Like the longer you do this as somebody that's covered the league for 10 years, you can look at an outlet or a reporter reporting information and say, oh, they're cool with that agent. That's where that came from.
Yep.
That's why. And we're not getting that. And I think it's very interesting. And on top of that, I agree with what Joy and Shady said. I hear you. There's levels to this. But at the end of the day, all Lamar Jackson has to do is sign a piece of paper, and he's going to be guaranteed $30 or $40 million. That is a jumping off point. He's 26 years old with an NFL MVP. The earning potential is there. And I say this all the time. My opinion about this is colored by my experience covering Dak Prescott's contract, because he had everything go wrong for him and still cashed out in an extraordinary way. I don't know if he will get paid by the Baltimore Ravens, but Lamar Jackson's going to make his money. Something catastrophic would have to happen for him to not sign a contract worth close to $200 million, if not more than that. Like, that's coming. It's just a matter of when and who. And so, yeah, he could probably make life easier for himself with an agent. But to Joy's point, I don't think he really needs it, because he's got the ultimate leverage in the fact that he's a franchise quarterback.
Here's my thing. If he had the ultimate leverage, he would be paid by now. That's my issue.
That's not always true.
Here's why I think
that's not always true.
Here's why I think it is true. Because if Deshaun Watson had all this power, all this leverage,
Okay.
all of, if he was in the power position, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Not in my mind, based upon what we've seen. Shady, he's already gone through a year without being paid.
Hold on. So tell me some players that got easy deals at that numbers.
Only two in my mind would be Mahomes and Josh in recent history. Those are the only two.
Okay, so like
they got it easy.
It's hard. It's hard to do that. And I feel like we don't know how hard it was with Josh Allen because it was under wraps. So I was about to push back what you said. There's some contracts that don't even have them issues where you don't know what's being said from this side and that side. They keep it quiet, they keep it private, and they get a deal done. I just feel like Lamar Jackson is so good. You brought up Dak Prescott. He's so good that I don't have to really, I have so much leverage. I don't even have to negotiate too much. It's like, you know what I want, right? You know what I deserve. The market is this. Deshaun Watson got this. I need something bigger in this. Let's make it happen. Let's figure out a way where we can meet in the middle.
But Shady, you know this.
I don't think the agent part is that big of a deal.
But here's what you know, Shady, is like,
what I know?
Billionaires don't become billionaires by being overly generous people. It's not just going to be like, hey, Deshaun got this. I want more than this. Give me this bread. Here's what I was thinking of this morning. In response to that, though, 2-5 is, the Ravens haven't historically proven to be a stingy organization. They made Joe Flacco the highest paid quarterback in the National Football League not once, twice. Joe Flacco, yeah. When he won the Super Bowl, he was the highest paid. Then when he signed his extension in 2016, he was the highest paid. They just made Roquan Smith the first $100 million inside backer. They just did that less than 3 months ago.
He deserves it.
So it's not like the Ravens nah, they're not like a notoriously stingy organization. Joe Flacco was the first quarterback ever to get $120 million. That's still Joe Flacco. We're talking about Lamar Jackson.
There's a fly in the ointment, and it's Deshaun Watson getting a deal that just completely blew the rest. I mean, it was so far outside of what the market had been established to be. There's bound to be bumps with that. And I know Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray accepted deals less than that, but Lamar Jackson has the resume that he can push back.
Significantly less. But the other part is, while you're right about that, the owner of this team spoke publicly about the Deshaun Watson deal in disapproving fashion. So even though they aren't a cheap organization, this is different.
Correct. And so if it's different, though, my thought is this. If it's different, I would want somebody who is experienced at navigating the difference. My thought is this, like, if Deshaun Watson had no agent, does he get $230 million?
Probably not.
Probably not?
Not.
Yeah.
So, like,
that's true, but it's different situations, though.
Absolutely. But 2-5, there's a quantifiable number here. Your agent took what? Did you talk 2%, 1%? 2%. Most agents, bingo. Most agents take 3. But if you're that good like Shady, you can give your agent 2. You can give your agent 1 if you're probably Lamar Jackson.
Right.
So there's a quantifiable number here. 2% of $230 million is $5 million.
Okay.
So the question is this. Can Lamar make $5 million more with an agent than he can make without an agent?
But also,
my answer would be yes.
But also, while I would agree with you about Deshaun Watson, that is an extreme situation for many different reasons.
A lot of stuff going on.
He absolutely needed an agent. What I like about what Lamar is doing is he's attempting to, and it seems like he's going to stay on this path, create generational wealth within his family.
But he was going to either way, Joy.
Yes, but he's going to make more.
Not necessarily. That's why I disagree.
But your reason why he needs an agent is why? Because he can make.
I think he would make more money with an agent.
But why though? It's going to be the same thing. If Drew Rosenhaus or whoever's the agent is, they're going to say the same exact thing. So and hold on real quick. And the team, they're always pushing back.
Yes, sir.
Every player would tell you this. The player never got the money he really wanted.
Correct.
So I'm thinking, like, what's the?
It comes down to this. I believe that an agent would make Lamar Jackson 2% more than not having an agent would make. I believe that if Lamar Jackson signs a $230 million deal, his agent would have made him $235, $240, because that's what it's real simple.
I have an agent. I'm a pro-agent person. I like having an agent. And that's with the money that agents take.
And they take a lot of it.
They make my life more convenient, so I pay for the convenience and what they bring to the table. But what he's doing is being a disruptor. And if it ends up working out, which I believe it will, because whether the Ravens pay him this or not, there are some other teams out there.
Right.
There were other teams bidding for Deshaun Watson. It wasn't like everybody just forgot, like, oh, he's in Cleveland now.
Nope.
Atlanta.
New Orleans.
Miami. New Orleans. 2 of those places still very much need quarterbacks. So the market is there. Whether it's going to be at the Deshaun Watson level or not, again, from the very beginning, I've always believed that the owners are going to push back as much as they possibly can, united on giving away that much guaranteed money. I believe that. But, like Shady said, it's only a thing until it's not. We didn't think Deshaun Watson was going to get that, certainly. If another person gets that, then that's what the market
It'll be the norm.
I agree. Here's the thing. I do believe he will be a disruptor, but the interesting thing about disruptors in all of society, whether in sports or in the greater aspect of culture, disruptors usually take the first blow. I want Lamar to get the biggest check, not the biggest backlash.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.